YouTube, what's up? We are live and hope you guys are doing well. It's Ryan again of Ryan Edda Photography. Welcome to Toasty Thursdays where we are going to review the Canon 85 1.4 lens, the one that we have here. This beautiful baby right here. All right, before we get started, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. If and you could guys please hit the notification bell and leave a comment and share the video. I would really appreciate it. So let's get to our first-hand review. So we have our topic today that we are reviewing this lens from Canon 85 1.4. Hello to Instagram. Hope you guys are all doing well. We're streaming live to YouTube, so we're doing a little bit of switch back and forth here. So we have our scene that we are gonna share. The Canon, where did it go? What's up, guys? Hello to all of you in YouTube, on Instagram land. There we go. All right. So let's just for all you guys in YouTube, I'm just gonna give overall view overview of the 85 1.4 lens. So Canon has several iterations of the 85 lens. So there was the 85 1.8 that I think is just a USM uh, EF lens, and they have but that's not a non-L version, and they have the older 85, which is a 1.2 lens. Let's move this camera closer. 1.2 lens, which is I forgot how long ago it was made, but that's like the original 1.2 85 um, kind of, I guess, the main the most popular version of that lens. And now they came up with the 85 1.4 with an IS. So the IS is the image stabilization motor that helps stabilize your and reduce in-camera shake and lets you shoot at a lower shutter speed. For you guys in that that are not in the photography industry, so in plain English, that means you could shoot sharper, helps you photograph sharper photos in when things are like when your hands are not as stable and the camera settings are not as stable. So the 85 focal length in general is so much, it gives off that really fashion portrait feel. It's so much more used in the fashion industry because of its its telephoto nature. It has that background compression. I mean, and it has a very wide aperture. So 1.4, that means you could lower the aperture and makes for really nice bokeh. So bokeh is that blurry circular, like blurry background, which makes your subject isolated from the background. So that's what it was. So feature so back then the 85 lenses were without IS capability, especially the 1.2. That thing, I had it. That thing was super slow to focus, and it was like a brick. It was so heavy, much heavier than this one, the 85 1.4. But it was a great lens. It's really sharp, but it was really much tougher to master. Especially, and the thing is, during a wedding day, things are moving fast. So that thing isn't doesn't its attributes doesn't lend well to being in a fast-paced in shooting environment. So it's really really good if you're just shooting like a normal session, I guess, in the park, outdoors, or in studio, where you have control of you're not rushed for time. So it helps that the new 85 1.4 is so much faster to focus than that old 85 1.2, the L1, which I used to have. Now, now I don't. Because this is much better. So, and if you scroll down here, so it just describes the image stabilization up to 4 stops of shape correction, and there's much better coating on the lenses, dust water resistant, and 9 blades of aperture. So, hey Jared, so I'm looking at the comments on Instagram. That's Canon's best lens by far. Yes, I mean I agree. It's you could it's all purpose. You could use it for photographing events, weddings, portraits, any other sub genre like um, families, headshots, whatever, high school senior photos. The 85, you could, like, I literally photographed one of my recent shoots, I guess way back a couple of months 2 months ago, ever since this whole lockdown started. And I photographed that whole portrait session, headshots included, with just the 85. I even got full body shots. The only thing is, it is a prime lens. So by that, what it means, a prime lens is it's locked on its focal length. So if 85 millimeter, if you want to zoom in, you gotta physically walk closer to your subject to get a little bit more tighter crop. And then if you want to get the full body um, length portrait, then you gotta move back. So that's basically what the prime lens description means. So 9 blades of aperture is just, so the aperture is that little, like the eye blades that you would see when a shutter clicks. So the blades just creates a different shape of bokeh, the creamy background. So it just depends. So there's lenses that have more blades. So that's just what it means. So focusing distance, so high speed, autofocus using ring. So as I've mentioned, so the 85 1.8, this is the very beginner. It's not like very inexpensive. It's much I would recommend for beginners. because of the price point. But it's not an L lens, so it's a just a USM lens, I think. Excuse me. And that lens is not as sharp and is really prone to chromatic aberration. Like when you have strong backlight or like high contrast scene, you'll see like purple fringing around a lot of the images. Plus, if you shoot it wide open at 1.8, it's not. I mean, the copy that I got. I don't know if there's copies that are like tack sharp at 1.8, but when I had that lens, it was good as a starter. And then once you're if you're gonna be into wedding photography, once your career progresses, you wanna upgrade your equipment too. So I feel I've grown it at that point, and then I moved on to the next version, the 85, which was the 1.2. The only thing about it was, like I mentioned earlier, it was super slow to focus. It's like molasses. You could actually hear the motor focusing like zzz, zzz. And then if it's missing focus, it's having a hard time. It's like you could just hear the motor going back and forth. So that's kind of and you're and if you're at a wedding day and you have your client, let's say a bride, like, and then you're just like waiting to focus to lock. It's just like the seconds are ticking and you're starting to sweat. It's like, come on, lens, get it together. But when they came out with this version, it's so much better. It's the focus was much faster, and the thing is, also in different scenarios in the wedding day, if you are inside like a church that's dimly lit and you want to use primes because you can shoot at a lower aperture, right? Because there's not a lot of light indoors. The thing is, with if you had the old 85, the 85 1.2, it'll be harder to track because of the focus speed. Tracking moving subjects, if you're using the servo mode on the camera, it's you can't really rely on it because of the slow speed of like locking in focus. That's one of the biggest gripes that I had with that lens. So when people walk down the aisle, even some people might walk slowly, but most of the time they just run down the aisle. So if you're trying to capture a fast moving subject with that lens, the old 85 1.2, man, good luck with that. So that's not really not really the lens that I would pick for that situation. So it was more a specialized lens back then. So you would only bring it out when you need to photograph like just the bride or just the groom, like portraits, or you're at the portrait part of the day. You're just photographing the bride and groom. That's like one of the few times you could bring it out. So it's like it's in your bag, but you're not using it as much. It's also good for details, but that focus speed just really, there's better lenses you could use that would save you a little bit more time. But the photos are beautiful. But okay, so but now that they have the 85 1.4, so you'll see the 85 1.4, there's two I guess buttons here. I don't know what you call it, sliding buttons. So one is for the focus, manual focus. So if you turn on autofocus, make sure you have it on all the time. I make the mistake sometimes when I just bring out the lens and I accidentally just like set it to manual focus and I'm looking at the like what's happening. And then the other button is the stabilization. So that's the one that I just mentioned. so it helps you shoot in low light situations better. You could bring down your shutter speed, and it'll help um, with the shake correction up to 4 stops, as they say on the website. And it's as a smaller form factor than the old 185 1.2, which is definitely a plus for us wedding photographers that whole equipment all day. So I hope you guys are all doing well on Instagram and on YouTube. Again, if you guys on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment also, and share the video. If you know somebody that likes to watch product reviews and listen to it. So from Brent Bennett Paul, which is your favorite wide lens? So right now, today we're talking about the 85. This is not really a wide angle lens. It's more of a telephoto portrait lens. But my favorite has got to be the 11 to 24 f4 lens. It's a rectilinear lens. It's 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 so good for like environmental portraits that I do, and also with its that it's rectilinear. It's not fisheye. You know when you see fisheye shots, it's like that distorted, like round kind of. I mean, it's cool to look at, but you can't really. It's more of it looks kind of, I don't know, gimmicky in a way, like because that's not reality. Like it's not really curved like that fisheye lens. So the 11 to 24, it's rectilinear, but it's not distorted like that. It's not. Um, the lines are better symmetrical. So that's to answer your question. All right, so back to the 85. So if you guys are on YouTube, for the ones that are on YouTube, I'll share with you some of the photos that my favorites that I could showcase that it was taken with the 85 1.4. So this image was in New York at the Brooklyn Bridge at, oh my God, sunrise. So used the 85. So with the 85, the telephoto lens, so there's something that's called lens compression. So lens compression is a property of telephoto lens. So usually, I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but probably like 50 millimeters above or higher, it starts to have some kind of compression for the background. So what that just means is it gives you kind of the visual of your background being much closer to your subject, right? It brings so that's what it means, compresses the scene. So next image is a night portrait image. So was at the end of the wedding night. So it's so good that when at 1.4, its lowest aperture, it's still super sharp. That's what I like about it. So what it means is you could go in very dimly lit situations and just shoot it like, you know of course you're gonna have some lighting, but you don't need to flood the place. So it makes for those dramatic, moody images, and that way you don't have to raise your ISO so much, and your shutter speed could be at a decent range. Also with IS, you don't even really had to. You can kind of break that shutter speed rule of whatever your focal length is. You have to be double, so you could kind of go lower, as depending on how stable your hands are in photographing. Also, next image. So this one, whoa, this is our bride Jasmine. She was stunning on her wedding day. So you could see there was some compression like with the trees and the sunlight here, and the the 85 focal length has a more like fashion kind of like fashion style property. If you look at like a lot of the fashion magazines, like a lot of them, fashion photographers, a lot of them shoot with the 85, just because it gives off that look, right? Excuse me. All right. It's just had to take a sip of water. And for night shots like this was an engagement shoot. Um, Using the 85 just to get that blurry, that blurry background, and compress the scene. Well, you can see much of the scene, but you can see how tack sharp it is. And yeah, the thing is, the wider your lens is, the more distortion it gets. But when you're at the 85 focal length, it's more flattering to, like, that's why it's a really good portrait lens, because there's no distortion. If anything, it's like gives you a flattering look, like for close-up portraits, also like mid-length. Yeah. This was another engagement shoot. This was at Longwood Gardens. God, I miss that place. So this was especially for golden hour like images. This lens rocks. So I'd say, it's at some point, if you can get it in your photography bag, yeah, definitely have it. Because as if you're starting out, a lot of the recommended, beginner lenses are the 50mm. Um, if you, I don't know, a lot of people get a zoom lens, but I think at some point 85, if you want to really take some really good portraits, that's a good focal length. So, I mean, if you're going to be photographing live events, I mean, if you can get it, the 85 1.4 would be top of the line, really good. So, what happened on this image here, you could see what it did to the foreground. So, foreground, the things that are before you get to your subject, like that's, foreground. And then the background, so you can see it's like a dimensional 3D kind of look to this image, because, and then, yeah, the lighting so good. Yeah, it's a cool moment. So you can see it adds more interest, because I think I don't have the XF here, but I think this definitely was shot around 2.0 or like 1.4 really low aperture. And this one, an engagement session. This was, oh man, one of my recent shoots from this year. It was like February, I think, before the whole lockdown happened. Super cool moment. So I didn't. I can remember the settings here. This one wasn't shot at like 1.4. I think this was shot at like 5.6 or something, because it was too sunny, it was too bright. I just like suddenly increased the aperture, but it's still the background's still like blurry enough that you could still just spot the subject. It's not too distracting. And then one of this last images that I wanted to share, this was a photo shoot in Broad Street in Center City, Philadelphia. So I apologize to you guys on Instagram. I have it on the YouTube stream that I'm sharing my screen. So you can watch a replay on YouTube. You'll see the images that I'm talking about. So for this one, we did it in the middle of Broad Street. This was such a fun photo session. So this, you could see the compression. It compressed the city hall building against our subject here, and it just, this was shot at, I'm pretty sure, 1.4. So, but you could, I still got like what I needed in focus, and everything fell off like smooth, um, like a bokeh in a background, the blurry, out of focus background. Yeah, so 85 definitely a must-have for portraits in the 1.4. If you can get this version, the comparison with the old 85 is just, I mean, it's still a good lens, the 1.2, but for a wedding photographer, it's much more ideal because you could track moving subjects better with this because of the faster focus, and with the IS um, feature. And it's a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller than that 85 1.2. That thing was a really good lens when I had it, but I felt like I made a really good decision on moving to the 1.4. You know, it's just losing a point 0.2 like stop difference from 1.2 to 1.4. It's not really much, but I think it's a great decision. So that's my topic for today about the 85 millimeter lens review. I have an awesome video dropping tomorrow, guys, on YouTube. It's about Canon came out with this software um, that you, if you, for Mac users, that that would enable you to use your DSLR as your webcam much more easier. I had an old video that like listed some ways to do it, but this one is way much easier. I got it like working in like less than 10 minutes, actually, probably like 5 minutes. But I'll be posting that video tomorrow because I got some stuff to do. But again, this is Ryan of Ryan Edit Photography. If you guys like this review, please smash the like button, hit subscribe, leave a comment, share the video. Again, if for you guys on Instagram, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. You guys have any questions for me? I mean, I could do a little Q&A session real quick before I end the stream, but if not, then I would just thank you all for tuning in today. I hope you guys are all doing well, staying safe, and I don't see anything, so let's go back to here, and let's see. All right, well, I'm hoping everything progresses from here. We're just like everything, we're just listening to the news week by week on what's happening. I think New Jersey is slowly opening up, and parts of PA also by June, first week of June, I think, which is like 2 weeks away, a week away, couple of days away, maybe. I don't know what day is it. Isolation day number, what, 100 something days. I hope you guys are all still following the CDC, whatever precautions, that just make sure you have clean hands and not to touch your face, like all that social distancing guidelines. I know it's a strange world we're living in, strange times we're living in, but we just got to get through this and be positive. All right, well, To all you guys that are tuning in, I appreciate it again. Hope you guys learned a thing or two on this live stream, and then stay safe. I'll see you guys soon. This is Ryan again. Later, guys. Bye.